The man watched helplessly as his pregnant wife was burned to ashes by the evil dragon. After that, the wicked creature took away his heart. And it was all because of the evil dragon's bad taste, because it enjoys the feeling that human beings hate it. But the man who lost his heart survived, and became the legendary Arisen. His sole purpose henceforth was to eradicate all the evil dragons in the world. The man's name was Ethan. He had a very happy family. His pregnant wife, Olivia, was about to give birth to their beloved child. They also had a very clever adopted son, Rue. Ethan was a hunter, spending his days hunting in the forest to make a living. Today, as usual, he took Rue to the forest for hunting. On the way, Rue curiously asked Ethan if dragons really existed in this world. Ethan replied that he didn't know. Dragons, according to legend, last appeared hundreds of years ago, but they were merely mythical. The hunting went smoothly that day. Under Ethan's guidance, Rue easily hunted a deer, but in an unexpected turn of events, a wicked wolf suddenly appeared and snatched Rue's prey. Rue shot an arrow at the wolf, but it effortlessly dodged and lunged at him. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Ethan intercepted the wolf. When they looked up, they realized they were surrounded by a pack of wolves. Ethan was also puzzled by the presence of a pack of wolves near the city, so he quickly urged Rue to return to the city to seek help. Upon receiving Rue's plea for help, the soldiers in the city immediately donned their armor and prepared to eliminate the wolf pack. However, at that moment, the sky darkened as dark clouds engulfed it. Meanwhile, on the other side, the wolf pack had cornered Ethan at the edge of a cliff, with no way back. Ethan prepared to fight for his life, but in the next moment, the ferocious wolf pack, which had seemed unbeatable, suddenly turned tail and fled. At that moment, Ethan also noticed something unusual in the sky. Suddenly, with a terrifying pressure, a huge red figure emerged from the storm. It was the legendary evil dragon. As the evil dragon soared over Ethan's head, its powerful presence left him stunned. Once the evil dragon departed, Ethan hurriedly made his way towards the town. By now, the evil dragon was hovering over the city, unleashing its destructive breath upon the town. The soldiers in the city, facing the legendary evil dragon, were petrified. But the captain reacted swiftly and ordered the archers to attack. However, ordinary arrows were like mere tickles to the evil dragon. The soldiers lost all their fighting spirit and began to scatter and retreat, leaving only the captain behind. On the other side, Rue and the pregnant mother, Olivia, were evading the evil dragon's attacks. But then an accident happened. The burnt roof suddenly broke apart. In this moment of crisis, Ethan arrived just in time, using his sturdy body to successfully rescue them. Seeing his father return safely, Rue finally breathed a sigh of relief. But the next moment, the evil dragon suddenly appeared and swallowed Rue whole. Ethan angrily picked up the long sword on the roadside, the violent impact shattering his bones throughout. However, at that moment, the evil dragon slowly turned its head towards the pregnant Olivia. In the next instant, a scorching dragon breath engulfed her entirely. Ethan was completely devastated. The two most important people in his life were taken away by the evil dragon, stealing their lives just like that. Endless resentment and anger filled Ethan's soul. At that moment, the evil dragon unexpectedly spoke human language and asked Ethan if he hated it very much. Following this, the evil dragon slowly raised its dragon claw, and in the next moment, Ethan's chest split open instantly. A heart emitting a red glow rose slowly from his body, only to be devoured by the evil dragon in one gulp. It was unclear how much time had passed. Ethan opened his eyes again. The ghastly scar on his chest seemed to tell him that this was no dream. Stepping out of the room, Ethan discovered that the entire city had turned into ruins, and at that moment, a girl named Hannah appeared behind him. Hannah referred to Ethan as the Arisen, claiming herself to be his attendant. Not long ago, Ethan was saved by Hannah using magic, and Ethan is the legendary Arisen. As the Arisen, even if his heart were taken by the evil dragon, he would not die, because his true heart resided not in his body but in his courage and willpower. It was at this moment that Ethan suddenly remembered something. Frantically, he began digging through the nearby rubble with his hands. Within the debris, all that remained was a bracelet belonging to his wife, Olivia. Olivia's body had already turned to ash under the breath of the evil dragon, the grim image of his two loved ones' tragic deaths haunting him once again. The next moment, endless anger and pain completely consumed him. He then swore with his soul that he would sever the evil dragon's head, seeking vengeance for his wife and son. In a moment of calm, Ethan found a set of intact weapons and gear amidst the ruins of the military camp. Then, the two of them geared up and set off in the direction the evil dragon had departed. Through their conversation, Ethan learned that Hannah, as his attendant, had been tasked with protecting the Arisen since birth. At that moment, a loud roar echoed through the valley. The two rushed to the source and found a massive one-eyed demon in the valley. Not far away, a young girl was chained in place. As the demon drew closer to the girl, Ethan leaped off the cliff, sword in hand, and swiftly cut the chains to free her. But as the chains fell away, the demon's large hands snatched her. Protected by Hannah's magic, Ethan managed to rescue the girl in a narrow escape. Subsequently, they learned from the girl that she was a resident of a nearby village. The next morning, Ethan escorted the girl back home. However, instead of joy, the girl's father bore a look of deep concern. The village had long endured persecution by the one-eyed demon. In the pursuit of peace, the village chief periodically sacrificed a child to the demon. Upon learning of this situation, Ethan promptly confronted the village chief. However, the chief's opulent lifestyle, in stark contrast to the impoverished villagers, astonished him. Upon hearing of Ethan's intentions to vanquish the demon, the chief not only failed to express joy, but openly mocked Ethan, citing the monster's insurmountable strength. That night, Ethan and Hannah ventured into the valley, strategizing on how to eliminate the one-eyed demon. But in the next moment, the demon's colossal club swung towards them. Soon after, the village chief appeared on a cliff. It turned out that the entire scheme was his doing. To maintain control and exploit the villagers better, he had hired a wizard capable of commanding the one-eyed demon, and now Ethan and Hannah, who tried to sabotage their plan, will have to die here. Ethan realized that continuing this way was not a solution. He decided to take out the one-eyed demon first. Hannah took up her bow and shot magical arrows, while Ethan charged forward with his sword. Witnessing this, Hannah immediately released magic to empower Ethan's sword. Finally, with their seamless coordination, they successfully defeated the massive one-eyed demon. The village chief, witnessing this incredulous scene, paled in shock. In the next moment, he was pushed off the cliff by someone behind him. Ethan decided to hand over this despicable village chief to the villagers for resolution. When the villagers learned that all of this was the chief's scheme, they promptly executed him. Subsequently, the villagers stormed the chief's castle, engaging in rampant looting. The once timid villagers had now turned frenzied, leading to a gradual loss of control. Slowly, driven by greed, they began to turn on each other in a frenzy for the treasures. At dusk, the group suddenly faced an attack by goblins. Despite having two skilled knights in the party, the sheer number of goblins was overwhelming. Eventually, a seductive woman named Elizabeth was captured by the goblins. Surprisingly, her husband, Theo, who was cowardly and afraid, did not step forward to rescue his wife. However, in this critical moment, Ethan and Hannah arrived just in time. Since becoming the Arisen, Ethan's power had grown stronger. He took down the numerous goblins with ease. With Hannah's assistance, they successfully drove away the goblin horde. And then, Elizabeth, disheveled and disarrayed, actually hugged Ethan to express her gratitude, completely disregarding her husband's feelings on the side. During the night, Ethan learned from the knights that their city had also been attacked by the evil dragon, and the four of them were the sole survivors in the entire city. Ethan volunteered to take the night watch and urged everyone to rest. After days of exhaustion, the group quickly fell into slumber. At that moment, footsteps approached Ethan from behind. It was the strikingly beautiful Elizabeth. She had overheard their conversation, and upon learning that Ethan was going to slay the evil dragon, she found herself admiring this strong man. She then rested her head on Ethan's shoulder and began to recount her story. It turned out that Elizabeth's husband, Theo, used to be the wealthiest man in the city, and she had married him solely for his wealth. However, everything had been destroyed by the evil dragon. She hoped to rely on a strong man like Ethan. Just then, Theo approached, faced with his unfaithful wife. He did not get angry. Instead, he kept apologizing to Elizabeth and vowed to become a man who could protect her. And at that moment, a massive shadow flashed across the sky. It was an adult griffin. Everyone drew their weapons and stood ready. When suddenly, the griffin plummeted at incredible speed, snatching a horse and devouring it before soaring back into the sky. The powerful gusts created by its massive wings made it difficult for everyone to stand. In the next instant, the griffin launched another attack. Simultaneously, the goblins, previously repelled by Ethan, returned. To these creatures, young and beautiful Elizabeth was more alluring than gold, and the griffin continued to circle in the sky, leaving the group completely helpless. Just then, Ethan sheathed his weapon, and then spread his arms wide. As expected, the not-so-intelligent Griffin, provoked by this gesture, swooped down and snatched Ethan, while Hannah, infusing all her magic into the arrows, was waiting for this moment. Finally, they managed to drive the Griffin away. Meanwhile, the once timid Theo miraculously fended off the goblins. Upon their return from the battle, the assembled praised Theo's bravery, leaving Elizabeth pleasantly surprised. Her previously timid and fearful husband had become a true man. However, unbeknownst to her, Theo's expression was oddly sinister. In the next moment, Theo's sword pierced Elizabeth's body, because only in this way will she never leave him. It turned out that Elizabeth's prior attempts to seduce Ethan were not for infidelity, but to seek Ethan's strength, to protect her cowardly husband. When Theo found out the truth, he regretted it, but it was too late. Subsequently, he ended his own life with a dagger. He traveled to the other side to find the woman who loved him. Ethan and Hannah had to traverse mountains and valleys in their pursuit of the evil dragon's trail. It was during this journey that they stumbled upon a village nestled deep in the mountains. Here, they encountered a woman named Lanny. In her account, Ethan learned why such a desolate village existed in the heart of these remote mountains. It turned out that within the caves here grew a miraculous moss. Consuming this moss plunged individuals into wondrous illusions. Upon learning of this, the local governor ordered the establishment of the village to exploit this moss. However, the moss's allure came with dire consequences. It induced severe dependency due to the enchanting visions it bestowed. Gradually, they'll fall into it completely, and eventually they become a walking corpse, waiting for death to come. Unfortunately, Lanny's husband had also fallen victim to this poisonous moss. Not long ago, news spread of the evil dragon's destruction of nearby cities. Upon hearing this, the governor and his followers evacuated. Those who stayed were those who couldn't live without the poisonous moss. With Lanny's guidance, Ethan discovered a path within the caves leading to the mountains beyond. Pressing forward along this route, Ethan and Hannah eventually arrived at a stone bridge. They walked along the bridge in the darkness. Suddenly a mysterious creature dragged Ethan right into the dark water. Hannah swiftly conjured an illuminating spell, flooding the once dark cavern with light. The assailant turned out to be a four-headed serpent. It was the legendary Hydra. Hannah quickly drew her bow, unleashing a barrage of magical arrows straight at the Hydra. Stung by the assault, the Hydra flung Ethan aside, but this also completely enraged Hydra. After severing one of the Hydra's heads, Ethan exulted in his victory. Yet, to his surprise, the Hydra regenerated the lost head, possessing formidable regenerative abilities. Defeating the Hydra required the simultaneous severing of all four heads, but what they didn't expect was, Hydra actually turned around and ran away. The Hydra made its way directly to Lanny's home. Her husband was so frightened that he started to run away. In the critical moment, Lanny pushed him away and, with her life, saved her husband. The next moment, a magic arrow was shot directly at Hydra, just as Ethan and Hannah arrived in pursuit. In a bid to save Ethan, Hannah was struck by the massive body of the Hydra. Rushing to her side, Ethan found Hannah lifeless. Ethan witnessed yet another person he valued being killed by the monster. In the next moment, accompanied by endless rage, the hidden power within him finally awakened. His eyes ablaze with fury, he grasped his sword and charged at the Hydra. With a mighty leap, Ethan swiftly cleaved off all four heads of the Hydra in a single stroke. As the rage subsided, Ethan regained his composure. Returning to Hannah, he sorrowfully apologized to the girl who had sacrificed herself to protect him. However, in a miraculous moment, a radiant light enveloped Hannah, and she opened her eyes once more. It turned out that those like Hannah, the Arisen followers, would not truly perish as long as their bodies remained intact. At the same time, Lanny's husband cut open Hydra's stomach and rescued the dying Lanny. Yet, due to the corrosive effects of the Hydra's stomach acids, Lanny lost her eyesight. Overwhelmed with remorse, her husband apologized profusely, vowing to cherish and care for Lanny from then on. In the aftermath, Ethan and Hannah finally reached the mountains beyond. Drawing closer to the lair of the legendary evil dragon, they embarked once more on the path of vengeance. Not long after, they were attacked by a group of undead spirits. Due to the overwhelming number of enemies, they had no choice but to retreat. However, more and more undead soldiers directly surrounded them. During their escape, Ethan encountered patrolling soldiers. Upon seeing such a large group of undead creatures, the soldiers immediately joined the battle. Just at the critical moment, the sun rose, and the dark creatures, under the sunlight, instantly disintegrated into ashes. The remaining monsters could only flee in disarray. Sometimes fate works in mysterious ways. The leader of the soldiers turned out to be the knight Simon, who had fought alongside Ethan against the griffin. Ethan and Hannah followed Simon back to the camp. Another knight named Balthazar was also present. It turned out that this city had been invaded by an evil warlock, and the citizens were powerless to resist, forcing them all to flee the city. The place had become a deserted city. Upon learning of the situation, the military ordered the two of them to come and eliminate the warlock. However, due to the evil dragon causing chaos everywhere, the army was short-handed, and the soldiers assigned to them were few. Hence, they had been unable to slay the warlock. Initially, Ethan had no interest in getting involved, but Simon mentioned that if Ethan helped, he would reveal the location of the evil dragon's lair. Upon hearing this, Ethan immediately agreed. Soon, it was midday, the perfect time for hunting the undead. The group arrived at the church, serving as the warlock's lair, but the church was empty. Soon after, they discovered a secret passage leading underground. They lit candles to illuminate the dark underground space, but what they saw astonished them. It was a massive hoard of treasures piled up like mountains. The warlock had looted all the wealth of the city and claimed it as his own. Suddenly, a strange incident occurred. With a gust of eerie wind, countless gold coins flew into the air, forming a gigantic skull. The entire underground chamber was instantly filled with an immensely evil aura, as the wicked warlock slowly materialized from within. Due to the overwhelming number of enemies, the group was starting to show signs of defeat. Just then, Hannah grabbed a bag of gold coins and ran upstairs. The warlock, seeing this, chased after Hannah. Under Hannah's magic, the roof was ripped open into a large hole. The warlock, exposed to the sunlight, briefly lost its ability to move. Immediately after, Ethan plunged his sword into the warlock's chest. The once immensely powerful warlock vanished into thin air. The group returned to the underground chamber to prepare for the fallen soldier's burial. Balthazar lamented that they were so poor, they don't even have the money to pay for their soldiers' funerals. However, Ethan pointed out the large sum of money right in front of them. This statement struck a chord with Balthazar. In the next moment, he picked up a spear from the ground and pierced Simon's chest. Simon questioned him in disbelief why he did it. Balthazar smiled a twisted smile and said that Simon was a man of honor and wouldn't pocket the money for himself. But the money was crucial for him. With this money, he could live the life of an aristocrat, just as Balthazar was lost in his fantasies. Simon took the opportunity to drive his sword into his body. The sudden excruciating pain brought Balthazar back to his senses, and he realized he had been consumed by greed. In Simon's final moments, he revealed the location of the evil dragon's lair to Ethan. It was a volcano named the Mountain of Filth. After enduring countless hardships, Ethan and Hannah finally reached the lair of the evil dragon. Facing the evil dragon, Ethan could no longer suppress his anger. He raised his sword and charged at the monster that had taken the lives of his wife and children. However, the next moment brought the searing breath of the evil dragon. Luckily, Hannah saved him in time. In that moment, Ethan regained his composure, realizing that a direct confrontation with the mighty evil dragon was futile. They split up and launched an attack on the evil dragon. With Hannah providing cover, Ethan finally approached the beast and plunged his sword into its claw. Yet, the damage seemed insignificant to the evil dragon. The evil dragon, looking at Ethan, who had once again taken cover, pointing out that along his journey, Ethan must have witnessed the dark side of humanity, how humans exploit each other to satisfy their desires. As the evil dragon taunted Ethan, Hannah had readied her magic. In the next moment, a massive ice pillar struck the evil dragon. Ethan, using his agility, kept moving around the evil dragon as Hannah cast spells. Hannah took this opportunity to unleash her magic, blasted down the ceiling directly. The huge stone directly smashed evil dragon underneath. As Ethan approached to inspect, the evil dragon emerged unscathed from the rubble, ready to fly away. In a swift move, Ethan leaped onto the dragon, soaring into the sky together. The next moment, evil dragon rapidly rotated its body in the air, trying to throw Ethan down, but Ethan stuck to his body tightly. Then Ethan came to the neck of evil dragon. Without hesitation, he stabbed down with his sword. The next moment, the intense pain made the evil dragon lose balance. It fell directly into the ruins. The evil dragon, seeing itself being put in such a sorry state by a mere human, finally grew enraged. The deafening roar of the dragon enveloped the entire space. Witnessing this, Ethan turned and ran, with the evil dragon closely behind. Hannah directly threw the sword towards Ethan. Ethan caught the sword and madly charged at the evil dragon. Then, with a leap, he plunged the sword into the evil dragon's chest. Ethan finally became the Dragon Slayer, defeating the monster that had slaughtered his entire family. But even with this, it was far from enough to quench the hatred in his heart. Ethan then proceeded to dig out the evil dragon's heart and began to gnaw on it like a madman. But at that moment, the evil dragon revealed a terrifying and heavy truth. He was once a human being, whose heart was taken by the evil dragon, turning him into an Arisen, who, driven by a thirst for revenge, killed the evil dragon as well. However, this act triggered a dreadful curse. In the end, he became an evil dragon that only knows how to kill, and the reason why it wreaked havoc and killed was to one day be slain by someone, to help it find ultimate release. With Ethan staring in shock, the evil dragon turned to ashes before his eyes. Simultaneously, Ethan felt his heart beating once again, accompanied by changes in his body. His body was already transforming into an evil dragon. Ethan, realizing the impending loss of his sanity, requested Hannah to end his life. He wanted to contain the curse of the evil dragon within himself forever. But at this moment, Hannah, who originally had no human emotions, actually shed tears for the first time. She refused Ethan's plea. She couldn't bear to see Ethan perish, even if he transformed into a monstrous being. In the end, Ethan became an evil dragon. Before departing, he urged Hannah to protect humanity from him, to prevent his rampage. In the end of the story, the Dragon Slayer turned into the evil dragon. When you gaze into the abyss gazes back at you.